So we'll start with the concept of domesticity. There's a very common notion that domesticity constrains a housewife's role in the society and in the house. So we would like to present two concepts. One is domesticity view from a Western perspective and one from an Indian perspective. So considering the waves of feminism, Betty Friedan, who was the pioneer of second wave of feminism, she wrote a book, Feminine Mystic, in which she elaborated the role of a housewife and domesticity, in which that book stirred a storm and brought in a lot of changes, progress and development in USA. Unfortunately, its shadow fell for the rest of the world also, because women didn't only connect with the concept, but they connected with the feeling of oppression. So the concept got generalized. She advocated for women's right in the context that women who solely focus on being a mother or a housewife were left with a void and faced a problem that had no name. Housewife's work was mere domesticity. She said it was a menial labor that even an 8-year-old could do. Domesticity, according to her, was a void-filling mechanism that housewives used to do to fill their time. So as she emphasized that emptiness of housewife role was the real cause of frustration. So what was the solution for this? She said that for women should work, pursue a career and establish an identity outside the society, ascribe to a man's position, which could bring us to a question that do housewives really feel ambitionless when they do all the domestic work? Which brings us to the Indian context. In Indian literature and culture has quite a different view on domesticity. Domesticity in Indian context is much more than just a simple routine need-based work. Referring to Grihasthi system from Ashrama system, in where Grihapati and Gruhini work together to make their own Grihasthi. In that, housemakers may have a very sacred position. They have contributed to not just taking care of a home, but also to their family and to the society. She manages to do a small work like making food to a big work, instilling good values to their children. Our research mainly, next slide, sir. Sorry. Our research mainly focuses the lives of women who are employed or were full-time housewives and understand their role within the house system. Now, the next slide. Which brings us to question that what would festivals play a role in? Festivals have been known to be a time of joy, bonding, worshipping, a sense of identity, belongingness for people. They are epitome of wisdom and learning, especially for women, because we all know majorly festivals are women-led. And they also increase social cohesiveness. Through this, our paper, we chose to explore if festivals have had far more reaching effects when it comes to women empowerment. Women empowerment has been labeled as Sri Shakti, as it seems more relevant to the relevant restoration of empowerment in Indian context. Overall, though, women has a very various definition as women empowerment. So my question really is that should it be generalized, these concepts, or should they be categorized individually by keeping the demographic and cultural context in focus? I would let my friend Rohit take this platform.
Okay, so I'll be talking about the methodology that we use. So we wanted to gain an in-depth understanding of the perception of these concepts and experiences of women. And the best suited methodology we thought was a qualitative methodology. It relies on the data that we get from the participants and that is taken by the researcher to conclude the results. This methodology was employed in our research. But before that, before actual data collection, we collected data of 15 people in total, most of them being women from different ages, people from grassroots and experts. This was done to help us conceptualize the paper in a better manner. Next slide, sir. So our population was divided in central, western and eastern Maharashtra, from which 8 women became our sample who came from different areas of the population. We distributed the sample into 3 groups depending on the ages, that is 20 to 35, 40 to 60, and 65 and above being the third group. This distribution was chosen to gain different perspectives of different generations. Sample was collected using purposive sampling, as we wanted people belonging to the places for more than 10 to 15 years, because they have been experiencing these festivals and they know it much better than anyone else. The interviews that we took were semi-structured, which gave us the freedom to modify the questions according to the inputs that were coming from the participants. So the transcripts that we got from the interviews were analyzed using thematic analysis. This form of analysis was chosen by us because we wanted to identify some common patterns, themes that emerged. And in the results we found varied experiences from our collected interviews and analysis. So we now will move forward to see what we found in our results, and Nupur will go ahead with the results.
Okay, so now please just look at the screen one. So these are the themes that we got through our thematic analysis. So under these themes, I'm going to give you a gist of these only. So it's women empowerment, Grihasti, significance of festivals. Next slide please. So now first let me come to festivals. So festivals are a very big part of our country and many people celebrate them, and we've seen that through all the presentations in the morning also. And the dominant participation of women can be highlighted in all the presentations. So on screen the red text that you see are verbatims that we got from our interviews, so you can read them as well. So women participation, why it is so dominant in festivals? One of the reasons can be the Grihasti system as well, where women were delegated the work of the home. So women since the beginning are more involved in the household activities. So this ways festivals are a source for them to get some social, psychological and perceived scientific benefits as well. So if I go to them social benefits, that festivals are the time of the year when women could go back to their households, meet their family, talk about their worries, everything. This would help them psychologically as well. Also, perceived scientific reasons are like, now we have Mangla Gaur in Maharashtra. In that, when women go back to their homes, they have games and everything. So in that there's a lot of physical exercise. There is extensive physical exercise in those games. Similarly, in Vat Savitri, there is also a saying that when women go around the tree, they get oxygen. So that is one more thing that could be seen in this aspect. Also, women through the interviews said that they do experience stress, because we might feel that women work so much during festivals, so that must be stressing them out, and how can it be something that they like then? It's just a burden. But what our interviews revealed was that actually it is used stress, good stress, that they do so much. And even in the aspect of housewives, they say that we do so much and we feel good that we have done this. Because of us these things have happened, and that gives them a sense of pride. So they are actually a source of self-confidence also, coming back to the psychological benefits of it. Now the different kinds of generations that we have studies, there are different ways to perceive the festivals. So the younger generation, that is our generation, they look for scientific reasons behind all festivals to celebrate them. The middle-aged generation, that those are our mothers, they look for flexibility in the traditions. They don't want the rigidity that this has to be done this way. They want to do it according to their convenience, but they want to do it. And then the old generation, they like to do it well with tradition and all, but also there is one thing that we observe, that as they get more old, they also are looking for flexibility now in those traditions. So coming to women empowerment. So now the concept of women empowerment for the women we studied was not that they are working women or they are housewives. It is that they have the choice to do what they want to do. So that is what empowerment is for them, and not by what Betty Friedan has said, that people working at home are not empowered because they are not earning. These women say that it is our choice. If we want to be housewives, then we are empowered in that way because that is our choice. It's not told by someone to us. So with this point, I would like to come to homemakers. So homemakers have have reported a sense of pride upon the responsibility that is put upon them when they successfully carry it out. When people appreciate their work and say good things, they feel that they have completed a task successfully, which that same feeling could come to a working woman in her office area as well. So if the feelings are same, then that is empowerment for both of them, and it cannot be compartmentalized as profession is empowerment only. Now, gender roles. So gender roles have been quite prominent, but with time they are blurring now. So initially we had the Grihastha system, which was labor division according to proper work delegation. It was nothing was superior, nothing was inferior. It was more of the woman looked of the home and finances, and the man looked for was the breadwinner. Now with time, what happened is that people started perceiving the breadwinner's role as the dominant role, which was not the actual concept which was there in the Grihastha system. So when that happened, women, that is when the inferiority feeling started coming in, and the gender roles became bifurcated in unequal distribution of work, where women are doing a lot of housework now. So now with time we are observing that in the time today, those have started blurring, especially in the case of working women, because even when both of them are working, the man and the lady, there is a collaborative partnership. So now it's not a gender specific task, it's a gender neutral task. You both do it together, because now both of you are working, and this job is the man will be the breadwinner and the woman will be the homemaker, is no more the only compartment we have. So today's Grihastha, what we have found is more collaborative, and it's more of a I won't say partnership, because that was earlier as well. It is the same concept, just now the tasks have merged and the gender roles have blurred in them. So the delegation is no more just specific to a gender. Now I'll come to my last point now. So Frieden's conceptualization, what we found, is not applicable to our context. Like I mentioned earlier, in our context, perception of feminism is subjective. It is what somebody feels. So from the research articles also we saw, if a person likes exercising and that person feels empowered, then that is, you cannot say that no, how can exercising be empowerment? If I feel good doing that, then it is empowering me. Hobbies, many women reported doing so many hobbies. They sit at home, they do things they love to do, and they feel good. They don't feel the need to go outside and work for it. So I guess I would like to conclude by saying that what empowerment is allowing everyone to do what they want and not bifurcating roles anymore, because the times have changed. So now it's more of doing things together and helping out each other in this context. Thank you. The limitations.
We have one more point left. Any study always has to be transparent with what it has gained and what it has lost, and that is exactly what we are trying to do with our limitations. Why this study was one of its kind? Because we merged festivals with feminism, something that we haven't seen in the literature anywhere. We haven't been able to find credible sources wherein festivals are actually exclusively studied in relation to women empowerment, when in actuality we did see that they are. This was one of the things that we saw when we were researching for this study. On to the limitations of a study. The first limitation being that we conducted this study in a pandemic, and because of that, reaching to remote areas like the western parts of Maharashtra to Sindhudurg to Ratnagiri was very difficult for us. Nor were we able to reach there, nor were we able to get any credible contacts in order to reach people who actually had varied living experiences, who had different rituals in their own festivals, and because of that we were not able to get samples from that area. Another limitation that our study has, owing to its very nature, it's qualitative in nature. It is a boon as well, because what happens is that when you do a qualitative study, you actually get to know in depth about everything that the topic entails. You understand the nature of the topic itself. But what this also does is that we cannot make this topic to be pervasive in the natural area. So even though we found that festivals are related to women empowerment and women do feel empowered being housewives, more studies are needed and more empirical data is needed to actually justify and base this on a stronger idea. With that, I would like to end our topic. Thank you.
Young scholars, you have done a really good job, and I love the way in which you have brought out the limitations also. You are not going ahead with, okay, whatever we found was correct. You've done a lot of hard work, you've done a lot of analysis, so that's a wonderful thing. I think you deserve another round of applause.
Also, we will take any questions, any curious doubts if you have.
Good job.
Thank you.
God bless you all.
Thank you. All right, no questions?
You all are empowered. You are empowered.
That is true. Thank you.